Wait a minute, you killing me. You now say that over again because I don't think I heard all of it.
What's that?
The part about the signing of whatever order you was referring to.
Yeah, remember the executive order that you did a show on last year?
What executive order was that again? I forgot.
Executive Order 13598.
Okay.
Which was the Trump saying that the true history has been lost throughout the country. The people that you thought were villains were actually heroes, vice versa. And then at the end of all of that, it says that 120 days from the enactment of this executive order, we will put together a panel of different leadership heads to go and give a better presentment of the true history of America and its politics. So what I'm saying to you, my educated brother, when you go back and you look at Trump's executive orders, i.e., remember the ships, the barges out on the West Coast?
Uh-huh.
That was an executive order that was put into place that said if there was any proof of election interference from an outside country, then that country that was part to that U.S. overthrow, they would no longer be able to bring goods into the United States. And it also said those same companies would be taken off of the New York Stock Exchange. Also,
but I don't believe the order stated all of that delisting of organizations and companies from the stock exchange. I don't recall the order stating that at all.
Not 13598, but I think
not 13598 order. But what order are you referring to?
I think I don't have the order in front of me, but so basically, using the quantum computer system, right?
Okay.
Using the looking glass technology.
The quantum. Wait a minute. You say this all the time. What is it called again?
The quantum computer.
Quantum computer. Okay.
Yeah. Looking glass technology.
Now looking glass technology. And I looked that up before. There is some relevance to it, but I don't know. From what I read, the technology is not real yet.
So the looking glass technology, CERN, DARPA, they've had access to the wormholes, and so go back to
access to the wormholes.
Follow me on this. Go back to
wait a minute. This one question. Where are the wormholes located? This for reference.
So one of the big wormholes was 8/8/2020, 8/8/2018, 8/8. So what happens is
I'm asking you their location.
Okay, so where the sun's placement is inside of a particular constellation, for example, right? August 8th of 2008, that's probably the strongest wormhole or vortex or what is it called? It's like a door.
But what does have to do with the quantum computer that's delisting organization off the stock exchanges?
Okay, now let me just go back. I was just going to give you a background real quick on the looking glass technology as a whole. What the bad guys have been doing is they've been going into the wormholes, going into the dimensional portals.
Okay. You're talking about wormholes again. Where are these wormholes? That's all I'm asking.
Where? They're okay, so they are cyclical. They call it the Lionsgate, the one that I'm referring to, 8/8.
Lionsgate, they're a picture company. They make movies.
Yeah, so the Lionsgate Picture Company is a esoteric, like we know the truth, you don't, ha ha ha, laugh in your face. What they and that's a good example. So a lot of the movies that Tyler Perry makes, like the one where the girl was a slave in Atlanta and then she broke away and then she was in downtown Atlanta. Did you see that one on Netflix?
I didn't see that about Tyler Perry's movie, no.
Okay, it was on Netflix. But the point is this. They look into the future and they see that the blacks are going to start uprising. So what they do is they come up with a substance, i.e. crack, and they put it into the communities to keep the consciousness from growing. And they've been using that type of technology on the masses for a very long time. So in 2007, and even earlier than that, when the Trump regime came into office on day one, they had already gotten rid of their ability to use the looking glass and the quantum computer. And the quantum computer is like AI. It literally knows everything. It's like the mind of God. It knows all of the product. Like a good example is like on NBA 2K and on Madden, the simulator, when you when you're in a season and you just want to skip forward to see if your team made the playoffs. It's something like that, but it has all like 250,000
Okay, let me ask you
versions.
this. We got to back up some.
It's
How old are these quantum computers, and how old have the government or entities had the ability to use wormholes to look into the future? Like, how old is this technology?
Now, go back to when we were at Dealey Plaza and we saw that old Moorish architecture, that building that stands out like a sore thumb that nobody wants to talk about.
I remember.
What's that?
I remember downtown Dallas.
Mm-hmm. That builder or that type of technology, it goes back to a earlier cycle or earlier age. This shit has been with humanity for a very long time, but the elites have taken control of it.
What's going on, family? Today I'm just having a conversation with my brother. He be saying a lot of intelligent things and things that just make me go, where are you getting this information from? So right now I have him on the telephone call. I had him on the show before, but we're just gonna listen to him. But again, I'm just asking, can you just give me some clean answers as far as how long have these quantum computers been around? That's all I'm asking.
So based on my knowledge, since the beginning.
Since the beginning of time.
Since the beginning of everything.
Okay, and
before
are
time
these
existed.
Hold on, I'm just trying to break it down to make some sense of it. Are quantum computers that we know of today? Is it like that? Like
no, they're more powerful.
Right, but are they some form of man-made machinery?
No. Okay. Let's say this. To answer your question, Google Tesla's quantum computers. A lot of Tesla and Apple, a lot of these big corporations are making quantum computers, right?
Right.
And most of it is for the crypto markets.
But again, are they materialized objects, meaning you can touch them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so when you go and you Google Looking Glass again, and you study the computer systems that they use, it's like like in the movies where you get in a time machine box and then it starts spinning, and then you come out on the other side and you're like 5,000 years ahead or 5,000 years back.
Yes.
Similar to that.
So hold on. Let me get my keyboard here. And you told me to look up. Hold on. Tesla quantum computer.
Yeah.
I believe I looked this up before.
Yeah. But let's get back to the brass tacks, okay?
The brass tacks, okay.
Yeah, let's get back to the bigger picture. So Trump and his team, the White Hats or the Guard of the American Revolution, GAR, they have been in the background since the beginning.
Let me know if you can still hear him, family. I got him down here. Let me know if you can still hear him.
Whatever. One of the things that you have to understand is that the good technology is now, or the technology itself is in the hands of the good guys now, right? The importance of telling you that the executive orders that have already been written have been written using the quantum system. So in the future, they're slowly going to start to reveal themselves, but you're going to be mind effed that they were written in such accurate ways that it already it's like it was already done, but it just had to play out on a material plane. Does that make sense? I'll give you a good example of what I'm talking about is on Trump's second impeachment trial last December. In the Q drops, they put out a Q drop of what the decision, like how many people were going to vote nay and yay, and I think it was like 9-3 or 9-6 or something like that. And then when they actually voted, and it actually came out the same number that they had already predicted from the 2017 Q drop. That's when.
And wait a minute, what's a Q drop though?
You know how the Army of Northern Virginia, which is Q, and then all of the it's like a unit of like cyber nerd geek motherfuckers, generals and senior IT guys that have been using the looking glass technology.
Wait a minute, but what is the looking glass technology? Is it a technology that looks out into the future?
Exactly. So going back to the wormholes and the portals, they will go into like let's say they want to go.
So you saying movies like Back to the Future when people
all of that shit is using the looking glass. They're giving us
but people can actually go back in time or go to the future.
And just to give you an example, in a spirit body, and they can only observe. They can't because once they like pick up the coffee cup on the table that the general was about to drink from when he was about to go to war, it'll fuck up the whole future, past continuum, right? They can only observe, and then they observe what they observe. Go back to the movie with Tom Cruise. Have you seen the movie
Minority Report?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where they had those psychic beings or those psychic entities in the pool. They used them to go into the future and just observe, and because of their high psychic minds, they were able to accurately report what they saw. This has been going on for years, right? That's what the alien abductions has been about, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm telling you is that the good guys have control of that technology. So my next point is a lot of what we're experiencing had to play out in such a way that it didn't disturb the natural flow of this timeline, because on other timelines we already lost. Everybody's been vaccinated. Everybody's slaves. Feel me?
I understand. But okay, let me just ask you something that I know a lot of people will ask anyone who says that we can travel to the future. Now, I can understand us traveling to the past because it's already occurred. That makes sense to me for some reason. But let me finish. Go ahead. But traveling or going to the future, which has not already been done, how can you do something that has yet to be created?
Say that again, Ray.
How can you travel to a place that has yet to be created?
And that's why I said no. That's why I said no, right?
No, you said no to traveling to the past. I'm talking about traveling to the future, because you said that the looking glass technology, that the powers that be, government, whatever, looks into it to see what we're going to do in the future as Black people. And they say, oh, no, let's introduce crack cocaine. So explain that to me.
Okay, so number one, time is an illusion.
Time is an illusion.
Yeah. So, this conversation that we're having, there are 256,000.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, so let me ask you this really quick before we move on.
Go ahead.
Who are the good guys?
The Grand Army of the Republic. Grand GAR. You can look that up. And what the GAR is a group of, like, you've heard of the secret societies, right?
I've heard of secret societies, yes.
Illuminati, right?
Yeah.
They are the infiltrators of the infiltration. So
they are the GAR are the infiltrators. Are the infiltrators of the infiltrated, or the
the
people who infiltrated?
Okay, so for example, prior to 1776, you had the Illuminati created in I think it was London, and they would come into organizations around the world, and those organizations that were meant for good, they would come into them and corrupt them, i.e. the banking system, the religious systems, the education systems, etc.
Okay. I don't want to make you lose your point. Okay, I got that part.
Okay.
Now,
so
back to
GAR is a group of what they call white hats, which are the counter of the and I hope I don't lose you when I say this. So the Greys, the Reptilians, the Archons, they are in fourth dimension. They don't actually come down to Earth. They use their minions to push out their agendas. Their agendas, if you go back to the Republic falling, if you follow that, it was like it took 95 years before the corporation to start. These entities.
What corporation?
You know how we were a republic, a constitutional republic,
right?
As of 1776, and then 1871, the Organic Act of Congress, and then the false counterfeit constitution. It went the Constitution for the United States or the United States
Corporation.
Of and for are two different things. But what I'm saying to you, my brother, my educated brother, is that these entities have been controllers or the rulers of the planet, but they're not on planet. They're off planet, but they use their minions to carry out their agenda.
Okay. Hold on. So whoever created the corporation, they live off planet. Now, are you speaking in another dimension or are you speaking on another planet? Fourth dimension.
Yeah, so it's not a physical realm per se. It's not as dense as Earth. However, the communication is kind of like when people get abducted and they never left their house, but
they are living beings.
Sentient living beings, yeah.
Sentient.
Well, some of them, the Greys are actually controlled by AI, but that's not the point. The point is that the counter of that is the higher dimensional white hats, the entities that because let me just say this. Our Constitution is not just for Earth, it's universal, right? And one of the, like what you were saying at the beginning of the conversation, free will, free choice. But yet this nigga just slaughtered my whole family.
Right.
So you have free will to do whatever you want, but also
wait a minute. So hold on. You're coming full circle. So you basically believe there is no Christian God, no Muslim God, no Hindu God, no Buddhist God. You don't believe that either, then?
I don't. See, you got to quantify, brother. When you say Christian God, are you spelling it C?
I'm talking. No. It doesn't matter. It does matter the way I spell it. But hold on. I'm talking about the God that's out of the Bible that most people know of.
Okay, so the Christian Bible, the Book of the Sun, is a derivative brought to us by the Ethiopians from the Egyptian gods, or the Book of the Dead. The key in all of this is that it's been corrupted, just like all of the other
religious documents.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Bible, the Quran, the
Hermeticism,
the Book of Buddha teachings, all of these documents are corrupt.
No. Yeah, they're corrupt.
They're fraudulent, essentially.
No, it's kind of like this. They're codified so that you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. You can't just disavow the whole Bible. It's bullshit. You can't do that. You have to understand that certain things, like for example, if you don't have the right degrees to read the Bible,
oh my God,
then it will fucking make you crazy.
What degrees are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Masonic degrees.
Masonic degrees. I knew you was going to go that. Are you talking about the Masonic degrees and levels of like level 33, 34, or whatever?
Yeah, like level 3 is when you have to get locked in the
you're going full circle, but you still didn't explain the looking glass technology going into the future. Hold on, I got a couple of things for you. You still haven't explained the looking glass technology and how that can look inside the future. One, then two, now that we're coming back now, how we started the conversation, that how can a loving creator God that's omnipotent, all-knowing, and all-powerful allow certain heinous things in the world today, especially if I know things are going to happen. Now, the analogy or the metaphor, well, the analogy that I gave you is, if I know that there's going to be a mass shooting at my kid's school, will I allow my kids? No, I would not. So if God is our Father, he already knows this information, but some people say, oh, well, he gives you free will. But no, you will inform me of this heinous act, and then I won't go to the school. Yet, better yet, those people wouldn't even exist because you know what they're going to do in the future. God is his own Minority Report. So why allow these things in the world to happen? See, that's the thing that always gets me, because hold on.
Because you're looking at
hold on. That's the things. No. Those are things that kind of allows people who really haven't given any deep thought like this to say, well, I believe there's a God, but there's really no signs of it, because look at the world today. And then they cover it up with a big fat blanket. It's called free will. Well, no, you already knew what was going to happen. You could have gave me the information and then let me make a choice. That's free will.
Yeah, and one of the things, let's I hate to do a sidebar, but just real quick. So what I heard about the vaccine is that a lot of people, they know that the vaccine is going to kill you. They know it's bad.
Oh gosh, here we go with the vaccine.
Yeah,
let's get back to the point. Listen, you know me, I'm not pro-vaccine. I'm not anti-vaccine. Do what you do.
Let me just say it.
Okay, go ahead.
When you, because first of all, spirit never dies. Do you agree to that? Spirit has always been.
If spirit is a form of energy, I agree.
Okay, so a lot of us have been recycled for a very long time. A lot of us came back to help out humanity. A lot of us have a lot of negative karma to pay off, right? So a lot of us made soul contracts to come here and to take the vaccine and die and show the next generation, don't ever take vaccines again. That's just an example. What is your soul contract? Number one. Number two, a lot of things that play out in your life are a combination of you paying off debt and you getting positive debt or no debt. You know what I'm saying? In the spiritual realm. So you would have to, and just as a sidebar, the dimensions go up higher. Like we're at 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, 10D, 11, all the way up to 24D.
24D, talking about dimensions?
Yeah, and then you get to source.
But right? Okay. Hold on. First we were talking about the looking glass technology, and I want to know how we look in the future. Then you went 360. Then we talking about God and entity. Now you're talking about how many dimensions there are. But here's the thing: we had this conversation before, bro. Yeah, but you read these things out of a book that a person written. So how do you even think this shit is real?
Okay, so the manifestation of the evidence that these goddamn things are real is the device. And if you did your research on DARPA, the looking glass technology, the OSS, CIA, etc., then it'll give you a better understanding of how they've been doing shit, right? But
and you're telling me that this information is public knowledge. It's public.
Go to BitChute and type in looking glass technology.
You said go to where?
BitChute, looking glass
technology.
How you
BitChute, like BIT shoot?
TCHUTE. And there's a lady, she's with give me a second.
And wait a minute, what do I look up on BitChute?
Looking glass. And it's a lady doing an interview with a soldier. It's a long interview. It's a United States, I think, Air Force. And he does an interview about how he was selected to get into the special forces.
Wait a minute. Is the interview around like 2 hours and a half?
Mm-hmm.
It says Project Camelot.
Yep, Camelot. Yep. And it's a white boy in a suit.
Right.
I think he's Navy, right? But his interview will kind of it'll blow your cookies, right? Because he goes into a lot of secret classified information. He talks about how his whole unit, they had certain psychic abilities, and what they were doing in the first term, the first part of his enlistment.
Hold on, I'm reading the. I'm trying to see what this is all about. Hold on, my screen is blew itself. Here we go. See, transformative. The more someone has been demonized, the more credible he is. However, there's not an invite for any trolls. Okay, that's what the author is saying. But hold on, I'm curious. Give me a second here. I don't. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get this up here real quick. I don't know what is up with this.
Those questions, they were amazingly expensive. $1.2 million.
Let me see. They say go to 45 minutes or something.
So, Ray, you never seen that interview? Okay, so when you see that interview, call me back.
I might give it a look too.
Yeah, but
and the name of this, you got to go to BitChute.
Okay.
And the
Certainly
name of
they
it
realized
is
afterwards
Project Camlet. Bill Wood above and beyond Project Looking Glass.
Yeah.
So
right. And
is
at
this guy
point,
still
you were
alive?
in northern Iraq?
Yes.
I'm not
And
sure.
how far away from the place of detonation?
Explaining how the looking glass works and how the technology has been around for ages, but in the last 6,000 years, the bad guys have gotten control of it through the wars and stuff, right?
Okay, so again, can we move forward?
Okay.
How are they looking into the future with this technology? And again, give me the most basic question. How can you look into something that hasn't occurred yet?
Because you're looking at time the wrong way, brother. You're looking at time the wrong way. The way that it works is this conversation that we're having, right? There are 8 times 8 to the 8th power versions of this conversation, right? The conversation that we're going to experience is the conversation that we both consciously or subconsciously agree to, right? The timeline still exists, but the timeline that we're experiencing is the one that we call real or now, right?
Right.
Number 2, there is a timeline of Earth that has been moving forward for millions of years. And according to the looking glass technology, around when the Mayans said that the end of the world or the end of the age would happen around 2012, all timelines started to converge. And the reason that the bad guys let go of the looking glass technology is because it all showed around 2030, Earth would be completely pummeled, no life. It's like they said it would be the equivalent of like a red infrared light. That's all we would get from the sun because everything was destroyed, right?
Let me just ask a sidebar question. Do you believe
I don't believe
people
shit.
like
I know what the facts, bro.
No, listen to me. Do you believe that people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk knows this information? This is the reason why they colonizing Mars, or trying to at least.
See, okay. Remember back when Trump implemented the Space Force?
Yes.
Okay, we have been on Mars the whole time. We have been on all of the planets the whole time. And what they did, they have came to Earth, took the ancient human DNA, and then they would take it down in the dumbs and they would try to build these hybrid chimera type creatures and then take them back to Mars as slaves or other planets as slaves. So this whole Earth economy has been like a feeding ground for the higher dimensional beings to come in, extract us, run tests on us, and see who would be the best slave. And this has been happening on all of the planets, right? Space Force was
wait a minute. When you say this has been happening on all of the planets, now stay with me. Do you mean the planets that majority of the 8 billion people on Earth know of, or that's in maybe different galaxies and universes, or are you talking about planets in different dimensions of the 24 dimensions you spoke of?
So, and that's another great point, right? Number one.
I'm not trying to make point. I'm asking questions.
Go with your first question again. There's a lot of questions.
Okay. Is the planets you're referring to the most known planets that the 8 billion people on Earth know of today?
Those 8? Yes.
Okay.
Are there more? There are a lot more.
Okay.
There are a lot more.
Then are there different planets in the 24 different dimensions?
Let's say it a simple way. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the simple way. Now, here's a simple question: Can we breathe? Can we breathe in space?
When we
Okay. Hold. Let me make it more simple.
Yeah.
Can regular old people that don't know what you're talking about breathe in space?
So, for example, I'll give you a good example. One of the guys that was he was a traveler, and they would come in his bedroom and they would take him. He said as soon as they got up to the ship, he would put on this, like, it was like a backpack, but on the front of his chest that would allow for him to oxygenate and breathe, so quote unquote. But it was a machine. It was a technology that they put on him so that he could go into the spaceship. And the spaceship was it was like, let's say it was the size of like a football field, but once it got out of the Earth's atmosphere and got into the higher dimension, it expanded to where it looked like it felt like a real planet. It felt huge. So one of the things you have to understand, that like in the movie Men in Black, how that guy had that little necklace thing on his chest, but inside of that it was a whole fucking universe.
Yes.
That whole expanding of matter and the contracting of matter, that's what they experience. So in other words, Earth is condensed and compressed. But when you go to other higher densities, there's like a weightlessness. There's a great expanse of it. You don't realize how heavy it really is here. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that
you know what, that reminds me of a movie called Interstellar, and they were talking about the way that we travel something is through gravity and the lack of, or something like that.
Yeah, they put all of this shit in the movies, but we don't have the esoteric mind to really comprehend it.
Esoteric minds.
Yeah, I'll give you another.
More like
another
extraterrestrial minds.
So there is a alien. I think they're from Sirius B or Sirius A, but they're peaceful people, right? They come to
wait a minute, hold. What you just named Sirius B and Sirius A? What's that?
Yeah, inside the Orion's belt.
Okay.
You have alphas. Yeah, you have the different constellations that make up that whole constellation. Like, for example, here's a good one: the Pleiades. The Pleiades are real. The Seven Sisters. They're very peaceful people, but with all, and this is the point, in all of the factions of different species in the universe, right? For example, you have Greys that are AI. All of them are fucking compromised. But then you have like some Alpha, and you have some Dracos. You have some benevolence inside of the Reptoid and the Archonic race. Just like in the human race, you have good and you have bad, all the way up the different dimensions. And one of the things so in that Looking Glass interview, right? The white boy, I think it's his interview. The white boy talks about that when he got cleared to go into the Navy, he went into like this deep underground base, or part of the base, and there was a motherfucking like literally a two-legged reptilian looking motherfucker, like 8 feet tall, and he really didn't talk, but he could read his thoughts and shit. And he said when he saw the nigga, he was scared shitless, right? But he was like his security guard, his security detail when he goes and deals with like some of the more ruthless type of extraterrestrials. And when I say extraterrestrials, I mean extra and Earth. So they're inside the Earth and they've been here for a very long time. But because they can't come to the surface, we think of them as aliens, but they are from here, or they were here from a very long time ago, if that makes sense. I know it's a mind fuck, I know. But when you get into the information, what you start to understand is that Earth has been under hostile control for like at least the last millennia, last 6,000 years plus. But what's happened is that whole free will that we first talked about, the Galactic Federation, they can't just come in and save everything and set everything back to zero. The consciousness of the Earth being has to be in compliance, or in other words, we have to pray, and our intention has to be to clear this shit up, get rid of this bullshit, and then they'll come in and they'll make moves. Do you follow me on that? So it has to be a collectiveness. It can't just be 10%, 20%. It has to be the whole collective. And that's what we're experiencing right now on planet Earth is that a lot of people, because of the gamma rays that are coming in from the sun, a lot of people who've been drinking the Kool-Aid for so long, they're starting to question a lot of shit. And because of that, the good guys are stepping in on their behalf and showing them the way.
Interesting.
Yeah, but like I said, that interview with Project Camelot, that really, you know how we had the conversation of, you read it in a book and you going off with another nigga wrote. It's kind of like,
I never said that, but I'm just stating the fact that everything that you're speaking about, you have read somewhere, and I'm not saying that it's false or not, but what I'm just basically saying is that whoever is more influenced by a piece of literature, a document, or a book, believe it or not, that person has somewhat disrupted the mainframe of you thinking for yourself on one sense of accord. Now, I understand how we get more intelligent, we get more wisdom is through other people's experiences, but at the same time, a lot of things that people speak of, and I'm not saying what you're saying, is it could just be all fraudulent, right? Just like people will debunk the Bible, right? And debunk these other religious documents. There's been research, like what's the name of this guy? I forgot the name of the researcher or the doctor, but he said the reason why white people are more intelligent than black people is because white people have larger heads, and those larger heads contain larger brains. So he made it more of an anatomy versus that black people are just incompetent and stupid and can't really understand or know anything. He didn't say that. He just like say, hey, the reason why you're Asiatics and European and white people, etc., are more intelligent is because they have larger heads, which holds larger brains. I forgot the name of the guy. I think his name was Putin, not Putin, but I forgot the name of that guy.
Yeah, can I just interject real quick?
Yeah, by all means, go ahead.
Okay, so number one, when you get the actual document of Yakub and how he went into different dimensions to get the spirit, he was trying to create a very, very smart being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And white people's DNA is like I said, from many conversations, spliced with the Moabitic, the chimpanzee, and then the spirit that comes from another dimension or another realm. The second point is that all white people on the planet are not the same. The Nordics.
Wait a minute. So all white people on the planet are not the same. I mean, of course not. Neither are melanated people.
No, exactly. But what I'm saying is the Nordics, their DNA only comes from about 1% of the human DNA that's on the planet. They're like 98%. I think it was Odin. That's where we get the word Nordic. Northern.
But when you say Nordic, they only have 1% of the human DNA. Are you talking about people from like who are Danish and part of the whole Viking class?
Yeah, that whole upper circle, Arctic Circle area. And there's a story on Woden and how he created them. So all throughout history, when the Earth goes through the higher density cycles, you literally become creator God, or a person that can splice DNA in such a way where you can create your own species. The last age was Yakub about 6,000 years ago, and he used the DNA from the Moabitic woman. So a lot of white people, that's why in Masonry they refer to white people as amalgamated Moors. They are us, but they've been spliced with other animal DNA. However,
wait a minute. So essentially, amalgamated people, they are us, but they've been spliced with
the chimpanzee,
animal DNA. But also, aren't they supposedly they hold our recessive genes?
So that's the whole thing. The albinism, they hold, because remember, the Moabitic, Canaanite, Hittite people are the first peoples of Allah, or the first law, right, from the beginning of time. And those people have all of the codexes mostly expressed positively, but Yakub was able to invert or to create the recessiveness.
Okay, hold on. When you say all of the codexes, What codex is? What codex are you referring to?
So the 42 strand DNA, i.e. the giants, the Nephilim, or actually before the Nephilim, you had the 45 foot tall, what is it? The book, the Bible talks about the oaks. Solomon used the oaks to build the temples or whatever. As the sun goes through the higher cycles of vibrational light, people become taller, more benevolent, and more psychic, right? In the last age, when everything, they call it the fall of man, when we were in the winter of consciousness, that's like right before the consciousness fell to such a low point. Yaqub was able to use his knowledge of that and then open up portals and then go and get the spiritual side of the European hybrid and mix that spiritual DNA into the codex of the Moabitic woman and the chimpanzee monkey and et cetera, the dog. It's a lot of things that he mixed it with because he was ultimately.
Let me read something to you real quick. What I just looked up because you said codex and you were referring to DNA. So I looked up DNA codex. It says, and there's an actual website called codexdna.com, and it states that Codex DNA is a synthetic biological company focused on enabling researchers to rapidly and accurately, reproducibly build or write high quality synthetic DNA and mRNA that is ready to use in many downstream synthetic biology enabled markers. So they are making fake DNA and mRNA to essentially rework your markers within your DNA mainframe.
But the key to, like with the vaccine, I hate to keep going back to the vaccine, but inside the mRNA, the doctors are doing autopsies on the people who have died from the vaccine, and what they're finding is that the body goes through what you call a cytokine storm.
Say that again.
The body experiences a cytokine storm, meaning that the synthetic light and the light of Allah, or the real light, it goes to war by way of the white blood cells of the lymphatic system, the immune system. So what Allah does in the spiritual realm, she shuts down all of these fake motherfuckers. Anybody that tried to fuck with her children on any level, she just causes the body to shut down. It kills everything. It's like a failsafe. It's like when the police come to your door, you just burn the whole fucking house down. They don't get no evidence on nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that is the brilliance. So what I'm saying is the vibrational frequency of light is what DNA actually is. When you synthesize it, you can replicate it up to a point, but it does not have the so for example, the flower of life is the actual genetic the biological code of melanin. Melanin is one of the few, or if not the only, I think gold as well, is the only material on the planet that can interact with all 24 realms all at the same time. So a lot of us are experiencing our higher selves giving us messages or giving us visions or giving us, hey, go this way.
Does it matter? Does it matter the concentrate or the level or percentage of the melanin you have?
Well, actually, going back to the Sands people. So, for example, you're Moabitic, right? Both of us are Moabitic, right?
Well, you got to explain what Moabitic is again.
The descendant of the first mother, right?
Okay.
The first creation of Allah, right?
Right.
The first set of women that were rained down from the heavens. You go back to that bloodline because you said you're O positive, right?
Right. O positive.
Yeah, that means you are part of the Orphan, the original, like, non-bodied angels that floated down from the voice of Allah, right? From the heavens, right? Your blood is so your skin and my skin, we have the same.
But when we talked, hold on, when we talked about the Sands people, also known as the Bushmen out of Africa, remember I told you they look Asiatic, they look Asian?
Yeah, that's the first people.
So
that's the first people on the planet.
And they the one who speak the click language. They don't do what they call Xhosa in South Africa, whereas the click language with some words, they solely speak through sound by different clicks.
That's exactly. And that language has been written down into what we call Sanskrita. right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Sumerian tablets were written in cuneiform, which is a derivative of Sanskrit. But I digress. The point I'm trying to make to you is that, contrary to popular belief, the belief is that the darker you are, the more melanocytes that you have on your skin and in your skin, and that your pineal gland will have a higher concentration of melanocytes than a light-skinned person like us, like the Moabitic copper-colored people. But the reality is that when they do the tests on the Africans, the really dark Africans, their melanocyte content is actually less in their skin. We have more melanocytes from Americans because we're both American, copper-colored, hair like lamb's wool, than the Africans. We have more melanocytes in our skin and in our pineal gland than they do. Does that make sense to you?
Repeat that again. Will we have different again?
The melanocytes is a measure of the melanin, which is the light codex in our skin and in our pineal gland. What researchers have found is that the darker the skin does not necessarily mean the more concentration of the melanocytes in the skin or in the pineal gland. So once again, the copper-colored people. Think about that. Just ponder that for a minute.
I'm pondering.
The darker you are does not.
This is. Hold on. Let me just say this. Anytime I talk to you, brother, I learn more and I get confused more. So it's.
So it averages out.
It averages out because sometimes, I know some of the things you're talking about, and then you go 10 levels deep on the information. And I think it's always insightful that, conversations that we have that people, the public, should be privy to, because there's so much information that and of course me, sooner or later I always go look this stuff up to see if it's real, and there's never been a lie, it's never been fake, it's always been some information out there on what you're speaking of. So again, like I said, it's always insightful, and man, I just appreciate the conversations every time. That's all, man.
Thank you for that. And like I said, confusion, but that's the whole point. You have to siphon out for your own, because your truth